Welcome to the 2022 edition of Heritage Highlights, brought to you by Heritage Patrimoine Cornwall in partnership with Your TV. Here in the studio with me today is my colleague from Heritage Cornwall, Sophie Jean. Glad you could be with us here today to talk about this exciting new project that the committee launched and that you, in a very particular way, embraced.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we've started this new initiative that offers plaques to homeowners or even historical building owners that want to kind of celebrate or commemorate the history of the building. So it's basically a program where the owners would approach Heritage Patrimoine Cornwall with their desire to have a plaque on their building, and we would help them find the facts, the historical information about it, who built it, when it was built, if anything interesting happened there, and then create this plaque that could be mounted on the outside and could be shared with everybody in the community to celebrate the history of that particular building. So
now, various communities have taken on initiatives similar to this.
Exactly. So yes, as a matter of fact, owners of a home that actually got one of our Heritage Awards in the past wanted to, again, share the history of the home and asked if we had such a program, and if so, if we could help them out. And we didn't. And in discussing this with all the other committee members, we felt that it would be a really nice initiative to have in our community.
Historically, the committee has offered these annual Heritage Awards to homeowners or property owners, I should say, because it could be business. We usually offer an award for business and one for home each year,
yes,
to recognize their efforts to preserve a building, whether or not it's designated.
This residence at 321 Amelia Street, owned by Gerald and Shirley Wood, historically is the former Bethel Synagogue. The synagogue was founded and built by Julius Miller, the president of the Jewish congregation, in 1924. The congregation purchased the lot for $1,150. The new synagogue was opened in 1925. On April 2nd, 2006, the Jewish community in Cornwall was celebrated their 5-decade history in the city. But it was also the day the synagogue was closing its doors. Moving ahead to 2009, the synagogue remained vacant and in need of some attention. Gerald and Shirley came to Cornwall from Montreal, looking at Victorian homes. Shirley, an interior decorator by profession, saw potential in this property, and she had a vision for its renovation. This undertaking took a painstakingly 2.5 years to finish. Heritage Patrimoine Cornwall is pleased to present this Heritage Award to them, and as Gerald said, Shirley deserves the honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Thank you for contributing to our community in this fine way. Dr. Paul Mikhail bought this property in 2020. He has renovated and updated the building and operates a thriving dentistry office. The general layout and staircases remain the same, as well as the second and third floors. The original heritage home, built in around 1880, coexists sensitively with the more modern office space. In 1905, the Knox Presbyterian Church, later Knox United, purchased the home for use as the church manse from James A.C. Cameron. Ministers and their families lived there during their residency at the church. Heritage Patrimoine Cornwall is pleased to present this award to Dr. Paul, recognizing his interest in preserving our community's architectural heritage. The footprint and facade of the original heritage home still remains in historic Sydney Street landscape for future generations to enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Stuart is well experienced in the field of local history, has been doing this for a number of years, and has some interesting projects, one of which we're here to talk about today. You have a new online venture called The King's Color. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, it kind of stemmed from my interest in the early history of our region and in Upper Canada generally. And I've always been interested in early publications, from colonial America or early Upper Canada, early newspapers and pamphlets and whatnot. So I decided to create what I call a micro-periodical, and it's called The King's Colour, a broadside of early Upper Canada. And it mimics the aesthetics in terms of its printing style and its overall format to early publications in colonial North America, whether it be the 13 colonies to the south of us here or Upper Canada. And it concentrates on more traditional aspects of Upper Canadian history, military affairs, early settlement, Indigenous issues, transportation, heraldry, anything that kind of piques my interest, and that I think that it would pique the interest of other enthusiasts of local history throughout the province of Ontario. I find with a periodical like this, it can't just be dry history, so I've tried to concentrate on interesting stories, and it's primarily distributed through Facebook. I thought that was one of the easiest ways to kind of get it out there and to market it. It's a free publication, so if you search for The King's Colour on Facebook, you can find it.
You said it fully public, so whether or not a person has a subscription, if you will, to Facebook, whether or not they have an account, they can still view it, right? They're
Absolutely.
not obligated to log in.
Nope, you don't have to do anything to do with Facebook if you don't want to, and it's a free publication, and we're a few issues in now, and I'm really looking forward to building a library of issues on this early history of Upper Canada from one end to the other. I want it to be kind of inclusive of the entire province of Upper Canada, which eventually became the province of Ontario.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Sacred Ground and your interest in the Loyalist cemeteries?
Sure. The book itself is the format. It's a series really, and the first volume came out in March of 2021, and it's formatted with 6 different chapters. Each chapter concentrates on one single cemetery, and in volume 1, all of the cemeteries were in SD and G. And each chapter is a combination of a site history of the cemeteries in question. So using land records, looking at the origin and genesis of the cemetery. Many of these cemeteries were private land that was later donated or sold at a nominal fee to local congregations and parishes, while other cemeteries were established by those churches right off the bat in 1784 in some cases. So each chapter is a combination of a kind of a detailed history of the site itself, but more importantly, the chapter also will focus on the biographies of some of the Loyalists who I've confirmed that were buried in those locations. Not all of the Loyalists. It isn't a full listing of every single Loyalist buried in those sites.